Now at the Middle East and what appears to be the United States' never-ending presence in Syria. Earlier this month, we learned a bipartisan group of around 30 House representatives sent a letter to the White House questioning the continued airstrikes in the country. Now, back in February of this year, the U.S. bombed a Shia militia target in Syria, citing authorized use of military force. The strikes have led to widespread calls in Congress to rein in the president's war power. Well, the letter also addressed eastern Syria, where the United States currently still has about 900 troops in the region. So to discuss, we are joined by former Pentagon official and our expert on this, Michael Maloof. Mike, great to have you back. It's been a little bit of a while, but why are we still in Syria? Why?
Well, I guess the obvious answer is because we can. No one's kicking us out.
That's true.
However, geopolitically and strategically, it's to maintain well, there's a few reasons. Number one, to maintain the control over the oil wells, and the gas wells that exist in the east. Secondly, it shows that it's an area that's controlled by the Kurds, so we're there to protect the Kurds. And thirdly is to try and limit the pathway for Iran to extend its influence to the Mediterranean. And the attacks that you alluded to were on Al-Tanf, which is at the border with Syria and Jordan. And it was done by Shia militias, which are generally backed by Iran. So there is, as you point out, a call to get out, the reason, and to question why we're even there. However, I remember way back when Biden was even a senator, chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee, he advocated a partitioning of Syria. Part of the east, which would go to the Kurds, the west would go to the Shia, the middle portion would go to Sunnis, which is the predominant sect in Syria. So it may be that this is playing into his intentions. He's given up trying to overthrow Assad, according to my sources. However, there seems to be he seems to be allowing now a little more aid to go into the country, humanitarian assistance predominantly from the UN, and also the Biden administration is not objecting too much to some of the restructuring in the country from the war. Now, there is the Caesar Act, which is in effect there, but that seems to be increasingly bypassed for political reasons. Now, what's also occurring is the fact that you have the Saudis and the UAE, who are Sunnis, coming in to try and extend their influence into Syria back again. There's also a movement by the Arab League to bring Syria back in, which some folks suggest was a surprise to Washington, but probably not. It probably works to their interest in trying to bring in greater Sunni influence over time to diminish the influence of the Shia Iranian influence and also Hezbollah. Now, what I'm hearing is that because of the civil war down in Lebanon, a potential for civil war in Lebanon, the Saudis may be just as content to let Syrian troops move back into Lebanon and to avoid civil war, and thereby again diminish with the hope that it diminishes Iranian influence. But on the other hand, Assad is very committed to the Iranians for the assistance that they've given over the years, along with the Russians. The Russians would like to see the Iranian influence diminished. And it has been somewhat successful in pushing some of that back because of Israel. Israel has wanted Iranian occupation and influence there because of the assistance they're given to Hezbollah. Now, if Lebanon moves into Syria, it's just conceivable that Hezbollah will go along with that and work with Assad. So they're not going to extinguish, in spite of Saudi Arabia's intentions and desires, they're not going to extinguish the Shia influence, and it goes back 2,000 years, FYI. But on the other hand, you've got the UAE and as I say, and Saudis now wanting to open up their relationships with Syria. So it's the U.S. intention, however, will be to try and maintain some semblance, maybe through the Saudis and the UAE, to diminish that Iranian influence, and that's what's important. But I don't see the United States immediately leaving the eastern portion unless some deal can be worked out with the Kurds and the Russians and the Turks.
Well, we'll be following it with you, and we're going to have you on again next because it's going to be, let's see what happens. Michael Maloof, thanks so much. Appreciate it.